Greetings everyone, and welcome to another BlastCast, and with me as always is the guy who loves automated gimbals, Lightning Dragon.
I thought that was you.
Yeah, well, I think we're both in agreement at this point in time. It's the best way to balance all the control schemes.
Or something like that.
So let's get into the Star Citizen news. David Coulson showed off some of his new Gravlev systems for the Gravlev hover bikes. What he's doing to make these handle a little bit better is he's using kind of a semi-simulated, like they're submersed in water, kind of like they're jet skis. It's a pretty interesting approach. It's kind of a way to root the hover mechanics with something that we're already familiar with, and I'm curious to see how this comes out. Now, some people were talking about the fact that they thought the vehicle should lean more, and possibly also the pilot, into the turns, but as far as I'm concerned, that's the kind of stuff that you do in cleanup towards the beta of the game, so right now that's really not so important. I'm more interested in seeing how this feels, and I hope we get fine throttle control with the ground vehicles, because right now it's pretty miserable driving. So hopefully any sort of throttle changes that give fine adjustments are brought into the wheeled vehicles. They also showed off a bit of the new female characters and animations. Those are coming along quite nicely, and I know that LD is going to be making a female character the second that becomes available.
I don't know. It depends. Probably yes.
Hey, there's absolutely nothing.
To be fair, a lot of people are going to be making female characters. Some of them will be female as well.
So the big news of the week comes basically from two little words, which I already showed you at the beginning of the video. Automated gimbals. This is something that we've been fighting for in this channel for a long time. Now, automation on gimbals doesn't mean it has to be simple or auto-aim or low-skilled. It depends on how they implement them. Now, while I like some of the ways that Elite Dangerous approached it, I believe they can be a lot deeper, and I'll leave a link down below to my signature tracking gimbals post. It's kind of a repost from the original forums where you can kind of see an idea how you can get more depth out of a system and keep it from being just a no-skill targeting system. There's another couple of reasons why this is important to have automated gimbals as opposed to the manual targeting, aside from the fact that, well, sticks can't use zero-order controls. One of the things that automated gimbals brings to the table is a more efficient and effective way of targeting subsystems. Now, while the pilot should still be largely in charge of getting those guns on target, automated gimbals will allow that final few feet of movement needed to more precisely hit where you're trying to hit. Another reason this change doesn't surprise me too much. For those of you who played the original Wing Commander games, you'll recall that many of them ended up on console. Now, if they were to keep interactive mode, a zero-order control system for the gimbals, what would happen would be is that console players, if they decide to ever go this route, because we don't know how powerful the next generation consoles are going to be, they wouldn't be able to use gimbals at all. Now, looking at what Chris has done in the past is the same reason I said that I believe he's looking at doing a multimedia empire. Like he tried to do the Wing Commander movie, and so I think that, like with these new investors that he has that have tried to make games and TV shows of the game at the same time, these are the kind of people that I think hold a similar vision of what he's trying to do here. I believe that, like in the past where he brought Wing Commander onto the console, I used to have the original Wing Commander on Sega CD. It was very hard to play that on Sega CD. I believe Wing Commander 3 and 4 came out on Sega as well. So to be able to eventually, because he said he doesn't want to dumb the game down for consoles, but he didn't say he wouldn't put them out on consoles. I think this is just another reason. Just speculation. I don't have any solid information, just looking at the past to predict the future. You know, but overall this has really put me in really high spirits when it comes to what we need in this game to get the game about flight first. And for the longest time, coming up on 6 years, and maybe already 6 years, this has been one of the battles that I've been fighting for. If not the primary battle, unified controls. At one point we formed an organization called Parity, and while I'm still an unofficial member, because, well, the guild I'm currently in doesn't allow you to be in 2 guilds at the same time, I'm still very much, a member in spirit. We've been fighting for this for such a long time, and hopefully, mouse relative users can start using gimbals again, stick users, gamepad users, and we can all just start playing together and not have these lockouts where, oh, I have a freelancer, so I better go ahead and use a mouse because I can't use my guns. That's just a terrible way to, it's a terrible box to put people in. Nobody wants to pledge for a ship and not be able to use the control that you want to use. And as we talked about before, when the flight changes were coming in, if they hadn't touched gunnery, flight would fail. Now this gives me a lot of hope, because this is something I was not expecting to see on the table at all yet. See, what I was thinking is they were going to get flight out, and then they would see how bad gimbals were, what the problems they were causing again, like in 2.6, and then they'd have to kind of step back and address it. But doing this beforehand, I'm a little shocked, but pleasantly so.
Basically, just repeating what you said, maybe a little bit different, that flight is, obviously it's the first thing that needs to be done. Even if you have great flight, like the controls, the ships, everything is, feels good, flies right, flies how you would expect it.
A common argument people hold out that interactive mode and gimbals aren't a factor is that the leaderboards are full of people who are using fixed. That's not really a statement on gimbals as much as a statement on the state of size 3 plus weapons. Because of the damage spread they had to create to quote-unquote balance the first order controls and the zero order controls as far as aiming is concerned, they ended up kind of creating a meta, and it was more advantageous for size 3 weapons. With an automated system, not only are you going to be able to have a real defining choice, but mixed loadouts should be a thing again. Right now, when you have different weapons of different types, you end up with multiple pips, and it's a real mess. But this kind of change will allow you to have one unified pip, and that would simplify the whole process, because it is really frustrating to have 2, sometimes even 3 pips floating around out there. Just a lot of good things overall. Now I do hope they come up with a deep, meaningful mechanic like the one I've suggested. It doesn't have to be that. I'm not that narcissistic that it has to be my idea. It was kind of a suggestion, something to kind of point them in a direction where they can incorporate not only ship tactics, but squad tactics and fleet tactics to kind of build it up. To really kind of define ships too, like the Hornet Tracker being better at using automated gimbals because it's got a better sensor package, and stealth ships maybe not wanting to use them because they put up more EM as they're trying to track. Instead, those ships may want to go fixed to keep their signature low. Where a fleet will go ahead and broadcast out telemetry to ships and help track so that the lock time on gimbals is actually faster by getting that triangulation. Those kind of things. And it's all in that idea, but that's just an example. But a system like that would allow a couple different pressure points inside of a fight. You know that the Hornet Tracker is transmitting data out to everybody, making it easier for ships to be locked up with gimbals. So okay, that's a target, that's a primary target. You know that there's a sensor array on an Idris that's doing the same thing, so maybe you all try to hit that sensor array and take it out. There's a lot of little things that can be done with this that add a lot of tactics, and I hope that it goes a lot deeper than just, your radar picks up on something and it begins to track it. A lot of potential here. It just depends on how far they want to go. CIG is still ramping up all their shows, so there's not a lot of extra stuff to talk about. What are your thoughts on automated gimbals? Leave your comments down below. And as always, I hope you're enjoying the little shows we're putting out. We have a lot of fun making them, and there's a lot of random stuff that happens day to day, but hey, that's the nature of it. Alright everyone, well thanks for watching, and this short little news update from the BlastCast. We will see you on the next one.
Bye-bye, everybody.